Ladies and gentlemen, as Chancellor of this university, it's my pleasure on behalf of the Senate and the Council officially to declare this degree congregation open. And a very, very warm welcome to all of you, and will you please sit down.
Lord Lieutenant, my Lord Bishop, civic guests, parents, friends and graduands, as Vice-Chancellor, I am delighted to welcome you to this degree congregation. It is a celebration for all those who graduate today. We celebrate your many achievements that culminate in the award of a degree from a major international research and teaching-led university. The degrees that you have achieved are the best results ever turned in by Leicester graduates in the history of the university. Many congratulations to you all. Today is your day. It is a very special occasion for you and your families, and we hope that you will continue to follow the fortunes of your university that has developed a very distinguished record. In the current academic year, we have 23,000 students, we employ approximately 4,000 people, and have a turnover of £276 million. So we are a very large business operating in an increasingly commercial way. But higher education remains at the very heart of all that we do. Leicester has a strong reputation for being a research-led institution, but one that also considers teaching as of equal importance. For us, having students taught by leading researchers is key to your development and the way in which you are inspired so that you in turn will go on to inspire others. We hope, in fact, that many of you will continue on to a postgraduate career, either immediately upon graduation or combining graduate studies while doing a full-time job. Leicester has been at the forefront of major discoveries throughout its history. As many of you will know, Sir Alec Jeffreys discovered DNA genetic fingerprinting here in 1984, and Alec remained teaching students in the University of Leicester until he retired last autumn. And Ken Pounds, who has been awarded a Distinguished Honorary Fellowship this week, is one of our leading professors in the field of physics, who is associated with the discovery of black holes in the universe during the 1960s, and he is now working on supermassive black holes. The university is also renowned for the work of W.G. Hoskins in developing English local history and the study of the English landscape. And of course, most recently, Richard Buckley and his team from Archaeology and Ancient History, together with colleagues from genetics, engineering, pathology, and many other subject areas, have made the highly publicised discovery of the remains of Richard III in a local car park. None of this highly significant work would have been possible without the University of Leicester, and the way in which its staff inspires students to undertake research in areas they find fascinating and then go on to impart their knowledge and enthusiasm to students as part of their teaching is absolutely central to what you will have experienced as students and what we see as the one of the hallmarks of the university. All universities make major contributions to the communities in which they are located. They contribute to economic development, to sport, to culture and the arts. This year, the university is celebrating the 12th anniversary of its annual sculpture show in our Botanic Gardens, exhibiting work from many nationally and internationally acclaimed sculptors. I would strongly encourage you to visit the show, which is free and open until the end of October. We do, however, live in challenging times, and university funding is being cut dramatically by the coalition government. And as a consequence, research councils and other bodies have fewer resources to distribute. But we need to continue to invest in our infrastructure, develop new buildings, continue to be able to hold high-quality events on our campus. We need to attract rising stars to the academic team and maintain our estate in ways that attract the very best students, who are, quite rightly, becoming more focused on customer service and value for money. We hope that you will continue your association with the university by supporting us in the future through the many activities of the Alumni Association. Indeed, there are members of the Alumni Office here today, and they can provide you with the details about keeping in touch. Now, despite it being challenging times, Leicester continues to be highly successful in various league tables. And those that have been published this year, we find that we have been placed in 16th position out of 125 universities in the Complete University Guide, and we've also been positioned in 13th place in the Guardian League tables for all UK universities. Now, I take all this very seriously, and I look at the data very carefully for the league tables, and on balance, it struck me this year that I should say to you that I can highly recommend The Guardian as the most reliable guide to English higher education. Now, internationally, we are also in the top 2% of universities in the world, and we have recently received awards for the Outstanding Marketing and Communications Team and the Outstanding Fundraising Team, both awards being given by the Times Higher Education magazine. This means that we have received an award every year since 2007, a position unrivaled by any other UK university. It is quite some achievement and a great accolade to the work that is done by my academic and corporate services colleagues. We have also won another 2 National Teaching Fellowship Awards that we are very proud of, and which have been given by the Higher Education Academy. Again, this highlights another important facet of our work. And only last week, our Students' Union became NUS Student Union of the Year. But our success is all very well. What I imagine some of you will be thinking is about your own success, and you're linked to your own future. Clearly, employability is very important, particularly for those not going on to graduate studies. In the current climate, there is always uncertainty, but I would advise you to hold your nerve. You have a degree from a leading institution and have acquired a range of skills that will equip you well for the future. I would urge you to seek every opportunity to develop your CV and continue to build on all your additional achievements that are recorded in your Higher Education Achievement Report that you would have been emailed about earlier in the week. Employers have shown a real interest in the Higher Education Achievement Report, as it clearly demonstrates a student's value added and the additional verified activities such as volunteering being recorded for them to use. It also highlights your particular strengths and the way in which you can bring particular skills to bear on a specific area of employment. Certainly, I have been delighted at the way in which employers have taken up the HERE given that I've been involved in developing this on a national scale in order to give all students the maximum advantage possible within the labour market. Our careers service will also be delighted to continue to work with you to further develop your portfolio and to increase your opportunities. We want you to be proud of your achievements at Leicester and to continue your connection with the university. This means letting us know how you are getting on. And when we contact you to conduct the destination survey that takes place 6 months after graduation, do let us know how you're getting on and how the careers service can help, because they can help you by email, by telephone, or by seeing you in person. And also, they will be able to make you aware of the graduate internships made available by the university and also by local employers. Staff from the Careers Service are here today, ready to help you. Now, before I close, I would like to tell you about what has become known as the Vice-Chancellor's competition. Competition between the different degree ceremonies and different colleges as to who can applaud loudest and longest. Now, we started in here on Tuesday afternoon with the medics, and you've probably heard the rumours over the years that, well, it doesn't matter, the medics always win. This year, the medics have had really tough competition, and I can conclusively say you don't need to worry about the medics. Arts, humanities and law, together with the social sciences earlier in the week, very impressive. Science and engineering, also impressive, yesterday. This morning, some of the social scientists, good, but I think social scientists with lawyers, we thought they kept to the rules a bit, or I thought they kept to the rules a bit. So perhaps given I've watched all this going on for the week, you should have the benefit of a few tips. First of all, this notion that it's the loudest and longest applause, I can tell you people are not keeping to the rules at all. We've got stamping on the floor, wolf whistling during the time people come up, cheers for particular students. The only thing we haven't had this week, and you might care to think about this, is we haven't had a Mexican wave. So, you know, whether you want to, but you'll be able to be more innovative than something, you know, that I might consider. But I think we need a bit of rehearsal. So what I'd like you to do is to join me in showing your appreciation for your parents, relatives, friends and sponsors who have supported you through the university. So I would now ask the graduating class of 2013 to join me in a round of applause for all those people. That's very good. I can see you've got the idea and you're into the swing of it. I mean, this is the last degree ceremony in the 2013 cycle, so I'm sure you will make it memorable for us in terms of hearing your applause as we go. But have an absolutely terrific day, and on behalf of the whole university, I wish you every success in your future lives and careers.
Professor Stephen Ball is a major figure in the world of sociological studies in education. In a glittering career, he has established himself firmly as a national and international expert on the sociology of education, and his incisive analyses of successive waves of educational policy have cast a critical and informative light on the surges of beliefs and fashions that have swept over the educational world during the past 4 decades. Stephen was born and grew up in modest circumstances in London. He did exceptionally well at primary school, gaining admission to one of the premier grammar schools in the capital. When he arrived as a keen new pupil, he found an alien and unsupportive environment that failed to capitalize on his abundant talents. Things improved somewhat when his family moved to the south coast and Stephen moved to another grammar school. But he was still left with a lifelong desire to understand the processes which had led to such an unsatisfactory educational experience for him and, he believed, many others from backgrounds like his. He chose initially not to go to university and started work as a librarian, but soon realized that would not fulfill him and gained a place to read politics at the University of Essex, at that time a notorious hotbed of radicalism. It was not long before he discovered sociology, and he's been hooked ever since by a fascination with how individuals interact with society to produce the complex systems in which we all function. He appreciated rapidly that the discipline provided a means of exploring the processes and systems underpinning education, was stimulated by a seminal book on the sociology of education written by Olive Banks, the first female professor at this university, where sociology was a major strength. It was perfectly natural to follow up with a doctorate on the sociology of education at the University of Sussex, and there was an obvious topic. The great wave of comprehensive schools was beginning to sweep across the country, giving a unique chance to examine the experiences of pupils and teachers as the systems changed. The authorities in Sussex at that time were committed wholeheartedly to the comprehensive idea and enacted major changes in policy to make it work. Stephen realized that effective strategic thinking and underpinning policies were the key to local success, but largely absent at national level, hampering the consistent development of the new approach. The rest of his academic career has revolved around the ways in which education policies evolve and are implemented at a variety of levels. He has consistently challenged orthodoxies, forcing policymakers to reflect on the often erratic processes by which policies arise, and acting as a powerful catalyst for the vigorous debate that is so essential for effective progress. To this day, he receives visitors anxious to learn from the leading heretic in educational policy, a cachet he is happy to acknowledge. After a period as a lecturer at Sussex, he moved to King's College London. Working in the capital connected him to policy-making processes and provided rich material for a steady stream of books and articles. In all, he's written 19 books, mostly analysing educational policy, and he has published over 150 articles in a wide range of journals. He did not, however, just publish in journals. He founded one, the Journal of Education Policy, which is the most prestigious and high-ranking journal in the field, and which included our Vice-Chancellor in its founding group. In 2001, he moved to the prestigious Karl Mannheim Chair of Sociology of Education at the Institute of Education in London. The Institute, which is the largest single-subject academic institution in the world, offered an exceptionally stimulating environment in which Stephen flourished spectacularly and where he remains. Stephen leads a variety of research projects drawing in substantial funding. Recent books include Global Education, Inc., where he has explored critically the growing trend for profit-making organizations to become involved in education. How Schools Do Policy, a practical analysis of how schools have run, and Foucault, Power and Education, a more theoretical perspective of the factors driving policies. Asked recently to provide a vision for education to commemorate the anniversary of the founding of the welfare state, Stephen has made a powerful case that the primary role of education is social and political, rather than the narrow economic perspective so beloved of politicians today. The benefits of a well-educated population extend far beyond the gross domestic product to enhance every feature of our human existence. Stephen travels widely to give numerous lectures and keynote speeches around the world and appears frequently in the media, commenting on matters educational. His achievements have been widely recognised. He was elected as an academician of social sciences in 2002 and a Fellow of the British Academy in 2006, the first sociologist of education to be so recognised. Stephen Ball is an exceptional example of what sociologists are here to do: analyse rigorously the social world in which we live and provide a critical stimulus to provoke the informed debate that underpins effective progress. He shows no signs of tiring in his task, and we will all continue to benefit from it for a while to come. Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of Senate and Council, I present to you Professor Stephen Ball, that you may confer upon him the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, graduands, I'd like to say 4 things to you, but very briefly. The first thing I want to say is how proud and pleased and honoured I am by this honorary doctorate. Particularly, as Professor Peterson suggested, there is a felicity to this in the sense of my own career. When I decided to specialise in the sociology of education when I was an undergraduate, there was one key, in fact definitive, textbook for the field, which was written by Professor Olive Banks, who was for many years Professor of Sociology here at Leicester. And when I got my first post as a lecturer at the University of Sussex, my very first appointment as an external examiner for a PhD was for a PhD at the University of Leicester. And of course the university has, going back to Olive Banks and since, a long tradition in the sociology of education. So I'm particularly pleased that the award has been made here. The second thing I want to say is that it seems to me, in many ways, that this moment in time is one at which we have never needed so much the critical and analytic sensibilities of the sociology of education. Education policy, education thinking, I think, has strayed more than ever from the paths of equity, fairness, and rationality. And if one wanted to ask the question, do we need the sociology of education now? I think the answer to that question is 2 simple words: Michael Gove. The third thing I want to say is that scholarship is quintessentially, in many respects, a very individual activity. It involves being in your own head, staring at screens, blank screens that need to be filled in, and it involves essentially thinking. It's lonely in that sense. But on the other hand, scholarship is also essentially a collective activity. It involves discussion, exchange, argument, communication. And that involves interaction with one's colleagues. And over the years, I have benefited and been enabled to think and think better by a number of colleagues of great importance to me. When I was at Essex, it would have been Dennis Marsden; at Sussex, Colin Lacey; at King's College, Brian Davis. And also subsequently, I've been involved in a number of wonderful research teams, people like Meg Maguire at King's College and Carol Vincent, the Institute of Education. So in some senses, in accepting the award, I'm accepting it not only for myself, but on the basis of those many colleagues who have enabled me to think over the years. And the last thing I want to say, is something I want to say to the graduates in particular. I think now, at this point in time, we are engaged in a war. It's a war over the meaning, purpose, and future of higher education. And that war is also the moment of crisis in the history of critical Western philosophy. And in that battle, there are, in simple sense, two sides. There are those who believe that universities should be places where it is possible to think. And many people defend that position, and your Vice-Chancellor is one of those. On the other hand, there are those who think that universities are places to produce surplus value, places to produce commodity knowledge. And unfortunately, many members of the current government would represent that view. But in the future, many of you will become part of that battle. Many of you will be involved in making decisions in relation to that battle. So the thing I would say to you is that when confronted with those issues, and when you think about which side you will take, that you will draw upon the skills and the intellectual sensibilities that you've acquired at the University of Leicester, and you will make the right and just decision. Thank you very much.
Will all graduands please stand?
By the authority of the Senate, I admit candidates both present and absent to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Mr. Chancellor, as head of the College of Social Science, I present the following candidates for their degrees. For the degree of Doctor of Education, Elena Kyriakou.
Doctor, very good.
Tong Li.
Doctor, very good, very good.
Grace Ruzan.
Congratulations to you, Doctor. Very good title. Yes.
For the degree of Doctor of Social Sciences, David Christie.
Congratulations. Very good. I like the thumbs up. Very good.
Beverly Kutajar.
Congratulations. Very good.
Hugh David.
Well done, Hugh. Doctor, very good. Yes.
Alexandra Kaoni. For the degree of Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics and TESOL, Eleni Lamprinou. Corinne Pelton. For the degree of Master of Arts in Learning and Teaching, Laura Collins. Kate Keaveney. Thomas Webb. For the degree of Master of Arts in TESOL, Chi Ying Wang. For the degree of Master of Arts in TESOL and Applied Linguistics, Agnieszka Kolinska. For the degree of Master of Business Administration, Mohammed Abdel Fattah. Tariq Abdulal. Don Abesekara. Emilia Aqua. Wilfred Ajati. Joseph Adua. Charles Gray Carthy. Lazarus Agrafiotis. Prosper Ahay. Ehile Ebangbi. Stephen Alford. Philip Alotti. Meza Al-Katani. Ibrahim Al-Sakran. Emmanuel Amachagi. Aqua Apa. Georgina Apenteng. Olugbemesole Babalola. Ahmad Badar. James Bancroft. Joanne Battestino. Ulrike Baumann. Winner of the Best MBA Student by Distance Learning Prize, John Bentley.
Well done, John. That's good. You can't do better than that.
Godfrey Bethel. Kumari Bisesur Konhai. Alexandra Bolton Mazuokolo. Mary Brown. Lakshmi Buntun. Gilbert Camilleri. Yak Ting Chu. Miranda Conway. Hermina Danzi. Nabila Dissar. Akofa Zandu. Edith Ebuahi. Michael Efar. Laura Ellis Kendrick. Marie Felix. John Finn. Lam Wai Fu. Andrew Gallagher. Paraskevas Giandakis. Kimberly Gorman. Gaius Harry. Yi Heng. Yujiro Hiroshima. John Holbrook. Tang Chi Hui. George Ibrahim. Yuka Ishikawa. Lefteris Kaltsas. Christos Karampetsos. David Kellman. Faiz Khan. Hamad Khan. Janet Konadu. Mohra Kumar. Victoria Manley Spain. Sandeep Manohar. Kenji Masuda. Anna McIlerney. Jayant Menon. Mohammed Omedin. Sean Moodley. Cornelia Moses. Marian Mswadik Opera. Japhet Mucheki. Zoe Nikolakia. Joyce Ofori Koranteng. Emilia Osei Derki. Ernest Owusu Afari. Gail Palmer. Delina Pata Dirija. Marilena Pelletti. Janice Phillips. Manoj Pillai. Mark Pybus. Talal Sabi. Fei Sheen. Kali Singh Shio Lokun. Yorbak Singh. Niraj Singh. Nikolaus Skouras. Tanisha Smith. Ing Yu Sun. Halima Tukur Modibo. Edmund van der Puy. Antoine Vella. Simon Vella. Richard Walls. Shumei Wang. Christopher Woldesenbat. Proskovia Yiga. So Shuk Yin. Heymanot Seleki. For the degree of Master of Science in Educational Leadership, Antoinette Gallia. Keith Gatt. Peter Jones. Louise Keevil. Dorothy Lapira. Ellen McHugh. Anthony Satariano. Paulina Tabiri.
What a nice tour that was.
Geraldine Vella. For the degree of Master of Science in Educational Leadership, School Business Management, Siobhan Hussain. Heidi Moore. Suzanne Pryor. Jennifer Trapp. For the degree of Master of Science in Finance, David West Abiso Angela. Martins M.A. Tony Holland. Brentford Nafte. For the degree of Master of Science in Human Resource Development and Performance Management, Lenuto Baranovsky. Lisa Campbell. Caroline Monnier. Blessing Njoko. Teresa Stewart. Helen Verney. For the degree of Master of Science in Human Resource Management and Development, Kevin Aquilina. Winner of the Ashton Prize, Claire Cheney. Kavitha Dadia. Desiree Jani.
What a nice tour, what a nice tour that was.
Oi Fong.
Congratulations to you, very well done, very well done.
Winner of the Ashton Prize, Maria Gauci.
Well done, Maria, congratulations to you.
Xu Hei. Tian Wenhei. Lempi Joel. Joanna Nadu. Queen Okubue. Stephanie Stellini.
Well done, congratulations to you.
Miriam Usitalo. Yin Wong. Shumei Yang. Jingyu Jiang. Ayman Zoni. For the degree of Master of Science in International Human Resources and Globalization, Alison McQuaid. Maria Saad. For the degree of Master of Science in Industrial Relations and Human Resources, Ololade George Aremu.
Very well done.
Richard Brucciani has a surname that every resident of Leicester associates with cafes and a craft bakery and, most of all, ice cream. The family business was established in 1937 by Luigi Brucciani, who opened an Italian coffee shop in Horsefair Street. 8 years later, his son Richard, our honorand, was born in Leicester. He was educated in the county at Ratcliffe College and then moved to London to study, work, and to qualify as a chartered accountant. Having qualified, he then left the profession and joined the Young Volunteer Force Foundation, which is now known as the Community Development Foundation. Now, the idea of using community development as a means of making local voices heard and creating environments that enhance the quality of people's lives is now commonplace. But the seed of that idea was planted by the Young Volunteer Force for which Richard worked as a young man. The conviction that the community is a potent force for social change has been central to his life ever since. Now, in 1971, Richard Brucciani returned to Leicester with the intention of joining the family business, but he soon decided that he would rather develop his own business, which he called PAL International. He began by importing the paper forage hats that were and are worn in retail food and establishments in the United States. Importing gradually gave way to manufacturing in Lutterworth, and 40 years of hard work later, the company has become a global market leader in disinfectant and cleaning wipes, in hygiene workwear, and in chef's headwear. The company has offices in Hong Kong and Dubai, and its global distribution network is centered in warehouses in Shanghai and Lutterworth. In 1970, the name of PAL was unknown. Now it is the trusted brand in many industrial sectors, ranging from food manufacturing and service to healthcare, janitorial, engineering, and agriculture. As members of the eating public, we probably most often encounter PAL in the market sector known in the trade as HoReCa, a syllabic abbreviation of hotels, restaurants, and catering. It's not clear where the business might expand next, but one possibility is surely real estate, where Richard's hidden skills became public 30 years ago when he emerged as the regional winner of the British Monopoly Championship. On the other hand, we might like to remember that in the finals the next day, Richard was bankrupted. Now, as a university, we honor commercial success, but in Richard Brucciani's case, we honor very much more. He has, for example, worked tirelessly for his sector as chairman of the CBI National Smaller Firms Council, as founder chairman of Business Link Leicestershire, as chairman of the CBI East Midlands Regional Council, as vice chairman of the East Midlands Regional Assembly, as chairman of the Leicestershire Employment and Skills Board, as a member of the National Manufacturing Council, a member of the National Advisory Council for Education and Trading Targets. It's extraordinary, isn't it? He's in demand for such posts partly because of his public spiritedness, but also because of his business acumen. Now, Richard's commitment to service in the community extends well beyond the world of business and manufacturing. In the education sector, he has served as a governor of his old school and has long been the chairman of governors of the Samworth Enterprise Academy. In the spiritual sector, he serves as trustee of St. Martin's Cathedral Properties Limited, and for the past 14 years has served as chair of trustees of the chaplaincy to this university. Beyond the chaplaincy, his work for this university has included membership of the University Council and of our Careers Advisory Committee. Now, in the city of Leicester, Richard Brucciani's most prominent initiative has been Our Leicester Day, which is an annual community event centered on Leicester Market. The idea came to him when he was on holiday in France and visited a town in which picnic tables were set out in the square and local clubs and associations came together to promote their causes and recruit new members. Most visitors, on encountering such a scene, would mill happily around the stands and store the experience in the mind as a memorably French occasion. But for Richard Brucciani, the champion of the community, what he saw was a model for what could be created in Leicester. For many years, our diverse communities have staged events ranging from Diwali to Caribbean Carnival, but until Richard returned from that holiday, there was no event intended for everyone. Being the sort of person he is, he promptly embarked on the creation of our Leicester Day. Participants have included Vikings, actors, writers, a robot, and scores of charities, community groups, societies, and clubs. Some are wonderfully frivolous, but others exist to help members of the community cope with cancer, HIV, stillbirths, hearing and visual impairments, sexual assault, and domestic abuse. Although only in its third year, our Leicester Day has already become embedded in the life of this city and has indeed expanded to the county. Within the city, it is to be a central feature of our new annual City Festival, which will take place on August Bank Holiday. If you live here, please attend. In the county, the first Harborough Community Day is scheduled for the 3rd of August, followed the next day by Community Heroes Day in Loughborough. At the hands of Richard Brucciani, a good idea has become a better idea and has spread to the wider community. Now, Richard Brucciani has twice been honoured by the Crown, first by the award of an OBE, and then by his appointment as Deputy Lieutenant of Leicestershire, Deputy to our own Lord Lieutenant, who is here today. Now it is our turn to honour a man who has used his formidable business skills to serve the community in which he lives, in part because he has an extraordinary commitment to the transformative power of communities, but also because his public spiritedness knows no bounds. Mr. Chancellor, on the authority of the Senate and the Council, I present to you Richard Brucciani, that you may confer upon him the degree of Doctor of Laws.
Many congratulations. Terrific. Very, very well. Oh, never say that. Yes. Very well.
Lord Lieutenant, Mr. Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, graduates, and ladies and gentlemen, it's with greatest pleasure that I accept the honorary award today on such a wonderful occasion. It's not often you can look around a hall and see so many happy faces, to see graduates and graduates receiving their well-earned qualifications, and see families and friends enjoying the satisfaction of pride and being part of their success. It shows that hard work brings rewards, and also everyone's relieved. But I think some people put into this more than others, not least, as I reflect, that my dear wife studied for 3 hard years in this institution to earn her Bachelor of Laws. My daughter also toiled 3 years for her LLB, and my daughter-in-law, sitting up there, is finishing her legal training and having started the long journey by earning her law degree here in Leicester. And here I am, turning up for an excellent lunch, being told that my key task today is to make sure I speak for no more than 3 minutes, and then I walk out of here with a Doctor of Laws. It actually seems quite unfair. But there is a serious side to this. Life is often unfair. You would think that graduates leaving university are guaranteed a job for life. Not so. No one is. We live in changing times. with global competition in an international jobs market, added to which many of the jobs that you will be doing in 5 to 10 years' time have not yet been invented. It's all about the permanence of change and our response and ability to adapt to it. I remember once talking to a man who was expanding his business. He said to me, "Richard, you've got to look to the future and then make your move." More jobs, he said, were becoming office jobs, so I'll soon be set up for good. He was recruiting typewriter mechanics. Today, I wonder if someone training to be a 3D printer engineer would say the same thing. Jobs are not for life. The good news, though, is that this world of change brings with it enormous opportunities. And they're here for the asking. So make sure you have your wits about you and learn how to be the one that grabs that opportunity. I can't tell you how to do that, but I can pass on just 4 hints that have actually worked for me. The first is never forget, no one owes you a living. Remembering that will help you get up in the morning. Second, keep developing skills, get experiences, take some risks, but it's worth realizing that you will always do better when you're doing a job that you enjoy. After all, if you're going to work half of your waking hours, it seems crazy to do something that you don't want to do. Third, be sure not to confuse effort with effectiveness. The winner of a race is not the one who finishes the most tired, it's the one who finishes first. And finally, if you want to succeed, be lucky. And believe me, you can create your own luck, not least by always looking for those opportunities, getting there first, being prepared, and being in the right place at the right time. What may seem like luck can often be explained. For instance, I wondered why I had been chosen to receive an award today. How had the Senate and Council come up with their conclusions? Then I got it. This is the University of Leicester's year of Richard III. How could they possibly not have a candidate with the name Richard? And it takes a Doctor of Laws to work that one out. So thank you again to you up here, and the very best of luck to you down there. Thank you.
For the degree of Master of Science in Management, Bobina Mary Matthew. Tommaso Bossi. For the degree of Master of Science in Management, Finance and Accounting, Farhan Ali. Shan Hong. For the degree of Master of Science in Marketing, Janet Barbara de Brincat. Yung Ching Man. Christian Richter. Timothy Steele. Kenny Tago. For the degree of Master of Science in Skills and Performance, Domenico Catania. Sarah Cripps. For the degree of Masters in Teaching and Learning, James Allen. William Ballard. Kim Isaacson. Rory Lennon. Patrick McKee. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Educational Studies, Margaret Bridges. Helen Brown. Najwa Callis. Carla Davies. Gayatri Patel. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Management Studies, Gaurav Aluwalia. Winner of the Best BA in Management Studies Graduate Prize, Zora Ahmadiyar. Mayowa Akintola. Prodromus Andreou. Antonios Athanasiadis. Ayodeji Awanuga. James Baker. Pragish Bandaranaika. Simeon B. Nicholas Bell. Oliver Breed. Priscilla Brown. Helena Bullivant. David Byrne. Zhong Shang Kao. Philip Catherall. Hazel Chan. Matthew Chatton. Wei Jiang Chen. Ziyu Chen. Andrew Cook. Bethany Coombs. Mohammed Daraz. Isha Dillon. George Dobbins. Phidias Economides. Dexter Emmans. Oliver English. Joshua Frisbee. Tayyab Gulzar. Sarah Gummery. Winner of the School of Management Introduction to Accountancy Prize, Amy Hancock. Anna Harding. Silas Headley Lawrence. Du Tan Ho. Emily Holden. Mohammed Hussein. Gemma Hutchinson. Benjamin Jackson. Ladislav Janda. Jerry Jones. William Jones. Navia Kakolamari. Elvin Kansiimi. Aphrodita Karagiani. Namra Khalid. Huang Li. James Leonard. Jian Feng Li. Yi Li. Zhan Haolin. Guang Liu. Xing Liu. Piotr Lyobojewski. James Lucas. Jocelyn Ma. Xinhai Ma. Helen Mack. Ike Chukwu Muduka. Punit Masuria. Mejabin Mirali. Tiago Moreira da Cunha. Stavros Nikolaidis. George Orson. Shin Pan. Georgios Papakyriakou. Sarah Perveen. Iris Peter. Ryan Pinnock. Matthew Poland. Salome Potamitu. Harriet Price. Joseph Rock. Rajveer Samra. Claire Scammell. Radoslav Shaliev. Shu-Min Shen. Yong Shu. Sophie Simmons. Ravi Singh Potawal. Ravneet Singh. Tanisha Singh. Mohammed Sohail. Jake Stenhouse. Kui Yusu. Dan Su. Wen Yusu. Hai Long Sun. Andrew Sutton. Winner of the Most Improved BA in Management Studies Student Prize, Emma Thompson. James Thorpe. Josephine Tirtayani. Petros Tsiakouras. Jason Uttridge. Neville Vadaseri. Ivan Barbanov. James Walker. Xing Wang. Shuyi Wang. Yushi Wang. Han Fei Wen. Thomas Whitehead. Olutome Wole Pasanya. Hoi Wong. Michael Wong.
Congratulations.
Aaron Wooten.
Congratulations.
Pei Shan Yang.
Congratulations.
Yifan Yang.
Congratulations.
Ka Yung.
Congratulations.
Si Yan Yim.
Congratulations.
Junfeng Zhang.
Congratulations.
Mei Dan Zhang.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Yang Hong Zhuang.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Management Studies and Economics, Shan Ao.
Congratulations.
Moiz Abraf.
Congratulations.
Kalpit Bandari.
Congratulations.
Nikolai Chalkias.
Congratulations.
Yuan Chen.
Congratulations.
Irene Adem.
Congratulations.
Shao Fan.
Congratulations.
Holly Ishmael.
Congratulations.
Andreas Cadiz.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Oliver Killinger.
Congratulations.
Heixia Li.
Congratulations.
Wing Li.
Congratulations.
Rikveer Mangat.
Congratulations.
Jamie Moore.
Congratulations.
Christina Mazgaldzidu.
Congratulations.
Benedict Mensah Bonsu.
Congratulations.
Vicky Rajani.
Congratulations.
Reena Shukla.
Congratulations.
Elizabeth Silk.
Congratulations.
Emily Wilkinson.
Congratulations.
Xiao Chen Yang.
Congratulations.
Bixing Zhu.
Congratulations. Thank you.
For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Management Studies with Politics, Matthew Banks.
Congratulations.
Arish El-Shalmani.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Human Resource Management,
Congratulations.
Edward Escoto Hill.
Congratulations.
Michelle Huang.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Maureen Mahoney.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Noel Shembry.
Congratulations.
Pauline Shembry.
Congratulations.
Stacey Shearer.
Congratulations.
Wedi Salumba.
Congratulations.
Wing Sin.
Congratulations.
Amy Skinner.
Congratulations.
Emma Smith.
Congratulations.
Doriel Vella.
Congratulations.
Alison Wesley.
Congratulations.
For the Arts Foundation degree in Educational Studies for Teaching Assistants, Amy Archer. Lisa Bruin. Kamini Bruin. Georgina Frierson. Natasha Galul. Susan Goodyear. Tamsin Hafiz Khan. Tracy Jenkins. Nazima Khalid. Kelly Langton. Wendy Limbert. Tasneem Patel. Adele Popple. Belinda Pultney. Niels Suzanne Sattar, Patricia Suffield. For the Professional Diploma in Management, Werner Samuel. For the degree of Master of Business Administration, Wudu Yademi Krasa. For the degree of Master of Science in Finance, Fang Su. For the degree of Master of Business Administration, Oladele Adeyemi. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I present to you this academic colleague who has been nominated for the award of a University Teaching Fellowship. In recognition of his excellence in teaching and his success in encouraging and supporting good practice within the School of Education, Dr. Phil Wood.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're very close now to the conclusion of our ceremony, and you really gave it some welly in that last cheer, didn't you? I mean, that really made us all feel at home up here, and I don't know what the Vice-Chancellor's verdict will be on the performance of the week, but that's got to be pretty close, I would say. And it really has been a pleasure, not just handing out or shaking hands with all of you who've graduated today, but it's very nice when there's a reception from members of the audience, and also one or two of you, I noticed you milking the audience a little bit, you know, the waves from the stage. I mean, I've spent most of my life in Parliament and in politics, and you always watch carefully those who milk an audience. You've got to be, there could be rivals coming up on the stage before long. Anyway, it all makes for it being a thoroughly entertaining and congregation. What I must do, though, to begin with, is to say a couple of words of thanks to the two recipients of our honorary degrees this afternoon. I thought Stephen Ball's award so richly deserved, and both recipients, I thought, today had got so much of interest to say. Stephen, of course, a lifetime in education, and saying how central really to his views it was that we need to provide for the highest quality to the widest range of people, and that's very much the philosophy of this university here in Leicester. So that was very much in tune and in keeping, Stephen, and many congratulations on behalf of us all on receiving this degree. And Richard Brucciani, well known, name well known, and I thought some real sort of words of wisdom coming out there. I mean, one that I'm very fond of myself about the importance of recognising chance and luck from time to time and making the most of it when the opportunities arise. And also, you've given great service, Leicester born and bred, great service to the city and a great friend of this university and a very worthy recipient of the degree today. And thank you very much as well. And now to the stars of this afternoon, that's those of you who've received your degrees. It really has been a happy event for students, staff, family and friends. In essence, it's a celebration of the conclusion for you of what must sometimes have seemed quite a long and maybe a difficult journey. And although it's getting on and it's certainly getting warm, I just ask you to reflect for a moment on how you felt when you started this journey. For many of you, on your first day at Leicester University, whether you felt, as I did when I was here 50 years ago and getting my degree, the first day is a pretty difficult one usually. You feel uncertain, the city's new for many of you, the environment's different, the course may seem tough, the other students may seem exceptionally clever, and sometimes, if you're human, you wonder, well, am I really going to cope with this? Well, your appearance on the stage today and the degrees and qualifications you've obtained are an absolute vindication of your triumph over any of those doubts. So I want you to remember that at this, if you like, the end of this part of life's journey, to say to you, very well done indeed. Your degree is a badge of achievement, of endeavour and of success. It's yours for the rest of your life, and particularly in the present economic climate when we all know jobs are not that easily obtained, your degree is something that will always be there for you, sound and secure, giving you real confidence in your own ability and maybe even more important, in your capacity to face challenges and to succeed. And it's a degree, as we've heard, from a very fine university, one that you've been proud, I'm sure, to attend. And there's one other thing, I suppose, which you can put in your locker when you reminisce about Leicester, as I tend to quite a lot. In the years ahead, you'll be able to remind yourself that when you were at Leicester University, you were that rare group of students who were resident at this university when we found the King in the car park. Now that's something which will be, certainly has put Leicester even more on the map than it was beforehand, and it'll remain there for a long time as a matter of pride, I think, with all of us. So always be proud of the university where you obtained your degree. And I think in particular, I hope you're as proud as I am of the way in which we describe our university as being elite, but not elitist. It's a great line, that is. I like it every time I say it. I wish I'd thought of it myself, and whoever did think of it should be given an honorary doctorate. But it sums up the ethos of the university. It's a friendly, inclusive place. And no wonder we record levels of student satisfaction which put us consistently in the top 10 since the annual survey began in 2005. And moreover, it's a university which is enriched by recruiting students from all around the world and from the widest range of backgrounds. Leicester is Britain's only top 20 university, and we should be proud of this as well, which meets official government benchmarks for students from state schools and from lower socio-economic groups. It's a rich and varied environment in which you've obtained your degrees and from which I have no doubt you will continue to benefit throughout life. And I also want to say one more thing to those of you receiving your degrees, and it's a simple thank you from the staff who've been privileged to teach you. During my career, I've spent a fair amount of time talking to students on graduate and postgraduate courses, and you might be surprised to know the debt which staff always feel they owe to their students. For you asking the questions that maybe the member of staff had never thought of, for the insights, for the enthusiasm, for the challenges that all students provide. As a teacher, you're always interested in the careers of students after they leave, and you always feel great pride in their achievements. So I simply say on behalf of the staff of the university that as well as saying well done to you all, we also say thank you for the contribution that you've made to the development and the continuing success of Leicester University. And finally, I want to say, and this almost echoes a point made by Richard earlier on, I want to say to you, good luck. And it's not just an empty wish for you, because some, of course, say that luck is one of life's most important ingredients. Certainly know from my own background in Parliament that luck is often the difference between winning and losing an election. They're determined often by a few votes either way, the difference between triumph and disaster. So never underestimate that. But I do know that your time here at Leicester will have shifted the odds substantially in your favour for whatever may lie ahead. I hope you'll keep in touch with us and tell us what you're doing, because of course your success, in part at least, is our success as well. Your predecessors have contributed massively to making Leicester University the fine institution it is today, and I know you will all, in your own different ways, be adding to that. So to all of you, simple message: well done, thank you, and in the years ahead, I wish you every possible success. Well, thank you very much for that. There is one final small item which isn't on your programme, but it's a very pleasant little task that I'm about to perform. And it's this, that sitting alongside me on my left here is the chairman of the university's council, Roger Bettles. Now, Roger sits throughout all these ceremonies. He claps as loud as anyone. He doesn't whoop, he's a bit too refined for that, or stamp his feet. He even laughs at the jokes when he's heard them before. He shows an enthusiasm and passion and pride for this university, and it's not surprising because for the last 13 years, Roger has been a member of the university's governing council, its cabinet, I suppose you could say, if you like. And for the last 6 of those years, he has been its chairman. And he's about to retire. And I've already spoken about the great success of this university. That in no small measure has been due in the last 6 years particularly to the efforts and energies and commitment of Roger, supported at all stages. She's here, as she always is, by his wife, Heather, who claps as enthusiastically as everyone else. But Roger is a greatly respected, admired and liked chairman of the council. He's utterly devoted to the university. He is virtually full-time at the job, but doesn't get paid a penny for it, neither would he want to be. It's a labour of love, and it's one I know he's enjoyed. Now, we've got him a little present. There's going to be a bigger presentation later on this evening when Roger will no doubt have things to say as well. But he's fond of art, and there's a light present here, a picture which I'm careful not to drop. And all I can say is, Roger, I can think of no one who it's a greater pleasure to be able to do this for than you. Massive, massive thanks for your huge contribution and the tremendous way that you've done it. There's the picture. There we are. Well done. What a cheer. There we are. Look at it. Good stuff. Right, ladies and gentlemen, there's one last formality to complete with thank you all for your attendance and being such a warm audience, and it's now my final duty of today, which is as Chancellor to formally declare this degree congregation closed.